Well, here is what we have going on today. We ended up getting the front differential out of this 9320. That's sitting kind of on its side here on this pallet. We pulled the final drives out of it last night, and Tim took those over to Kaz to have bearings installed into them. They have a stand that they can put that final drive assembly down into vertically and then just kind of stack the parts on as you go. We had a heck of an oil mess here. Last night, once we took the final drives off of that differential case there, we had oil all over the place and I had to clean that up, and that's what you see on the floor here. So what we're gonna do is we're going to start working on the back end of this tractor, getting it ready to come apart, and we've also got a heater core that we're going to replace. On these two 20 series tractors, we had an oil leak on this one that got fixed yesterday, and Jason ended up patching the hoods on them. These 20 series are notorious for cracks. The 8320, we replaced the hood on it. This 8220, we bought this one from my uncle. It had a crack in this one side here, and what we used on it was a panel, 3M product called panel bonding something or other, and we've had pretty good luck with that in the past. And then what Jason has done is he took a couple of pieces of plastic and he cut them to match the inside of the hood, glued them on there. He's got that same thing done on the other side of this part of the hood that's cracked. Then he gouged the crack out and filled it in with that material, with that product rather. And you could kind of see that there as well. And then this 8120 here had a few more cracks in it than the 8220. So Jason's putting tires on this 318G skid steer, and Jared has this trailer done. He's gonna pull this out of here and pull in the next project. He ended up painting the inside of this yesterday. He actually painted it with a roller, and it took him all day to do that, but he's got that done. It's got new tires on it, a couple of new air tanks. He ended up putting some work lights on there. He also put a float valve that goes in the tank that will light up these lights here. They're a strobe style light. There's one right there, two on this fender here, two right there, and then he's got one right there as well. And then once the tank gets full, depending on which side of the trailer he's loading from, he will be able to see not only from the spattering, but he'll have the lights come on, and then as he's going down the road, them lights will run on a strobe. Once he's empty, they'll turn off and he'll head back to the farm. He's got some work lights on here as well. He's got one mounted on the left corner, one up on the top, and one on the right corner. Does he have one on the right corner? No, he didn't put one on the right corner. And then of course, this ended up getting new hydraulic lines that run the whole length of the tank. And the reason why they put them in the tank, they kind of think that it helps cool the oil. I think it's just a convenience factor as far as mounting them inside the tank. It's more of a cleaner design than having them mounted on the outside. There is a stainless hydraulic kit that you could put on, but that requires hangers and everything else. So we better get working on this 9320. Well, we are now ready to pull this back end section off. Now, I think I might have said earlier on that we were going to take these fenders and section and whatever else off. That stays on there. What we're going to do is we're going to pull this PTO drop box off. We've got to unhook the shaft that runs back to it. We've got the wiring, the hydraulic lines. We've got all of that now unhooked from the valve body section here. Actually, we've got one more line right here to unhook and a small one on the other side. We've got to get that unhooked. Then we can unbolt it here and down there, and then take this all off as one piece here. The hydraulic valve bodies will come with the drawbar carrier, the drop box for the PTO, and all of that will come right off the back. And then once we get the front end done and back together, we could take this rear end apart now, but we don't want to have this whole thing on jack stands. So we get the front end together, then we get this back end jacked up, take the bolts out on each side here, get the gantry over here, drop that differential out of there just like we did the front end, and then we can pull the final drives off. We can't get these final drives off of there because of the way this fender bracket comes down over the top of it. So we'll keep at it here, and they're pulling the trailer out of here, and they're going to pull the 900 in next. How about an impact, Nathan? How about an impact? I'll get you a socket or something. Okay, so we have just a couple of bolts holding this in there. We've got everything all unhooked. We've got one bolt left on this side. We've got the fork stuck in there. And we're hoping to be able to just pull this guy right off of there. Yeah, let me get on the forklift. We'll go up a little bit with it. Well, that's what that looks like with the PTO out. We've got it sitting over here on the floor. We ended up taking the flat plates off that we left hooked to the tractor. We needed to put them on there to kind of balance it so that we could set it on the floor. The final drives are over to Kaz. Maybe we'll get them back here tomorrow. What I'm gonna work on now is I'm gonna work on getting that heater core out. Once we get the final drives back and get the front end together, then we can get the rear end out. Now, if you didn't follow along in the last video, you won't know what we're doing to this tractor, and we are replacing brakes on it. And we took the left side apart first. That's right here, and you can see that there is a fair amount of material still left on the brake disc. However, the right side, all of the material is gone, and then it got into the piston. Was it the piston that it got into? I don't know what I'm looking at there. No, it got into the actual backing plate, but it didn't hurt the piston. But we're gonna go ahead and replace the piston anyhow. There is a fair amount of discoloring on this one plate here. You can kind of see the discoloring there from it. So once we get our final drives back, we'll be able to put that back together. They got this green diller out of here, and now they're working on the 900. They're gonna get the silage pipes off. They've already went and put new tires on. These are virgin tires. I couldn't get any caps. They didn't have our caps ready, so we ended up having to buy virgin tires, new tires every once in a while. Anyways, these are an Armstrong something or other. I got these down to Syracuse retreaders. I've never used this tread design before. We're gonna go ahead and try them out, see how they do. And we've also got a fuel tank that needs to be put back on this truck. It was leaking during corn silage. Jared unhooked it. It feeds from the other side. He unhooked it, plugged it off, and he ran with just the small tank that's on the other side. The tank that's on the other side is a split tank. That's fuel and oil. We had that tank fixed last year, so they had wrapped this with aluminum, ran a TIG all the way around it, and that'll last another 22 years. So if you recall, back in September, Milton Cat did a overhaul on this engine. We ended up putting a new radiator in it. We ended up having to replace the bell housing because that had some spots that weren't quite correct on it. And we put a lot of money into it. The rebuild on this engine was $49,000. Plus we put a radiator on it, AC compressor, bell housing. So we got about $54,000 into the engine on this truck. It's more than I paid for the whole truck. So I better get on to working on that heater core. Oh, so that panel 3M material that we've used on those two tractors, we used on this W9 hood. There was a stress crack that developed. It started from the hinge here and worked over, and Jason patched this last fall, and that's still holding rather well. It just needs to be painted, but it's doing a good job. So we better get on working on our heater core. Well, we're into this heater core project here, and I'm almost to the point where I can pull it apart, but I'm not quite there yet. We have to move some equipment around in the shop here. The 8220 was over in on our other side. Now it is over in this hole. And Sarge is changing the oil on it. So we have put 275 hours on this tractor since we had bought it from my uncle. All he did with this tractor was mainly plant corn. Well, that's all it did for the last 7 or 8 years anyways. He bought this tractor from O'Hara. It was only a couple of years old, and for the most part all this tractor did for the previous owner was plant corn as well. I think the first couple of years my uncle had it. He did do some merging with it here and there, but after that it stayed right hooked to the corn planter, which we bought from him as well. Nate has moved some equipment around. The 7930 was on the H&S spreader. He switched it to put onto this spreader, and he put the 8120 on the H&S. What he's doing to this here is he's stiffening the top extension to this ram. How many bolts were across there? 5? 4? So all this had was 4 3/8 bolts, or they're 7/16. 3/8, 7/16 bolts that went across the top. And of course, once it takes a wad of manure underneath that tailgate there, which the tailgate on the H&S spreader is mounted. The arms are mounted to the outside a little bit, so if you have anything hanging off the top, it doesn't have to wedge it past the tailgate arms. This one, along with the other spreader that we had, the Pro Push that we had prior to this one, is the same thing. It was bolted to the top. So what he's doing is he's putting a couple of stiffeners in there, just flat stock, putting it in vertically to stiffen up the top of that ram. He also put a new tire on here. I know this doesn't look like a new tire, but it is. Been over in cold storage here for quite a while. They have the 900 done. Jared has put the fuel tank back on this side here. It's got the quiet pipes back on there. These are for hauling manure so that you can run nice and quietly down the road here. He also put, and is just about done, I think he is done, with putting an air tank on this left-hand side. The air tank rusted out here back in the fall, and to get it through hauling manure here this fall, they ended up actually putting some of that panel the 3M product called panel bonding something or other, and that actually sealed the air tank up until that we could get it in the shop here to get it swapped out. So we've got some virgin rubber on here. We'll see how these do. These are an Armstrong ADR something or other. They are 11R 24.5. So I guess that'll do it for this one. We'll get this out of here momentarily here. He also had to replace a turn signal light on the other side. I put these LEDs on there back when we painted this truck in 2013 or 2014. Again, this was cracked here, and that 3M panel bond and stuff has held that together. It needs just to be sanded down, and then a guy could repaint this fender, but we're gonna leave it just like that. Well, there's this light that he's replacing. So. Well, she got a hold there, buddy.
Hope so.
Boy, it looks good. Look at the job this guy did. My goodness. We got to be careful about how much of this job we show, because the varmints at Coon, they're going to end up stealing your idea, and they're going to want to do it up. So that is a 1/2 by 2.5 flat bar stuffed in there. How long are you?
10 inches, or 20 inches.
20 inches. That's going to stiffen it up tenfold, right? Oh, another thing they did with this spreader is he ended up burning all of the strings off. Here is the pile of strings that came off of these beaters here. So, yeah. Well, we ended up getting the HVAC unit out of the cab. That's sitting on the bench there. I had to remove the seat. We'll show you what this looks like here. We got it all opened up, and we got that unit out of there. Now we've just got to break it apart and put the new heater core in it, which is sitting here somewhere. But this is the unit here. We've got the heater cores on the back side here. So we've got to get this opened up and get that out. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I think it's rusted in there. There we go. There. Now, I've got a little screw right there. That's holding it in there.
You get 2 new pipes when you get that, right?
No, just the one part.
Which one? The heater core, and the other one's what? Condenser?
Condenser. The old one was leaking right around here somewhere. that's where that was leaking. So, yeah. Hopefully it doesn't need that. Now, oh man. Yeah, that truck, I don't know. Probably just telling you that. Could be. It probably needs injectors or. Yeah. And then you gotta kind of understand where they're coming from as far as putting a used engine in. I mean, they're not gonna want to do that. You know? All right, so we have this HVAC unit basically all put together. There's some metal clips I need to clip onto there, and then I can go ahead and reinstall that back into the cab, get things vacuumed out, get the seat back installed in there, get our floor mat in, and then that will be done. So with that being said, that is gonna do it for this video. We are going to get our final drives for the front end back tomorrow. We're gonna jog over there to Kaz, grab those, and the 9560. The 9560 was done on Friday, December 30th, and on let's see, today is Wednesday. Tuesday, they washed it and it's ready to go. We just need to be able to bring it home on decent roads. We don't want to bring it home in the salt if we can help it. So, thanks for watching, folks. And we will catch you at the next one.